We hit 10,000 subscribers, and it's all because of you awesome people. So I want to take this episode and dedicate it to showcasing your amazing ideas and trivia, and of course, your comments. Welcome to Comic Misconceptions, the show that takes you into detail about the things you think you know about comics. I'm your host, Scott Niswander. Once again, I am just super excited about us hitting our goal of 10,000 subscribers. I made a video on Sunday about it right here, thanking you all. If you want to go check that out, there's also going to be a link in the description. But also in it, I talk about how I only come back to do this show every week because of the amazing comments that you guys leave on all the videos. So I thought it would only be appropriate to make a video highlighting some of my favorite comments you guys have ever left. I'm gonna stay away from all the compliments and all the nice things you guys say. Not that I don't appreciate it, but I want to focus on all of the comments that add additional value or some fun trivia, or even the comments that call me out and challenge the things that I say and make me go and research things even further. Also, really quick, apologies for all of the names that I'm gonna butcher in this episode. It's gonna happen. So let's start off with a couple fun ones. On an episode a while back that I did about whether superheroes should have secret identities, Casey Jones points out a time when Spider-Man couldn't cash a check because it was specifically written out to Spider-Man because Peter Parker didn't want to give away his secret identity. So yes, this all goes back to Amazing Spider-Man #1, the very first issue, when Spider-Man is written a check as payment for his showbiz work. Fun fact, if you didn't know, I think we all remember Spider-Man's wrestling days, but he also got a job showcasing his powers on television before he hit his stride with the Daily Bugle. Anyways, he goes to cash a check at a bank as Spider-Man, but he can't because he has no form of identification as Spider-Man. As the bank teller points out, anyone can dress up as Spider-Man, but you need a valid form of ID to cash the check. So maybe that's another reason to go public with your identity instead of remaining invisible. In one of my favorite episodes about what Dr. Doom's face looks like under his mask, a lot of you guys commented a theory that I had heard about in doing my research, but I didn't realize it was as widespread as it apparently is. If you recall, I proposed that Dr. Doom could have a psychological disorder known as body dysmorphia, which would explain why he would go to such drastic measures after receiving a single scar across his face. Lightward offers a counterproposal that Dr. Doom isn't suffering from a psychological disorder, but a curse. If we remember that Dr. Doom received the scar because he was trying to take back his mother's soul from Mephisto, then we could easily say that Mephisto put a curse on Doom to make him believe that his scar was much, much worse than it actually was. Which, yeah, that could totally make sense, but I'm gonna leave that up to you guys to decide for yourselves. Going back even further in time, EminentDoyen leaves a comment on the video about weight loss stories in comic books, which I realize now is a really weird topic to do a video on. But they say that originally Alfred Pennyworth was a lot rounder than we know him as today. So there's a really fun story behind this that I heard a long time ago but completely forgot about. So originally Alfred looked like this, but when the 1943 Batman serial came out, he was played by William Austin, who looked like this. The DC editors liked Austin's look and wanted to bring that into the comics. So in Detective Comics number 83, they had Alfred take a vacation, and when he returned, he was much slimmer and had a mustache. And the rest is history. But not all history can be so simple, my friends. As I pointed out in the video about the real origin of Superman, which dates back to a short sci-fi story in 1933, Hexam7 points out that the comic proposal for Superman, even just 1 year later, is still drastically different than what we know of the Man of Steel today. The story, which you can see outlined here, involves the last man on Earth sending his infant child back to the year 1935 via time machine. The baby is discovered by Sam and Molly Kent, who give him the name Clark. Link in the description if you want to read the whole thing. And while we're on the topic, that short story, The Reign of the Superman, featured one character called Professor Ernest Smalley. Michael Aregbesola offers one of the most mind-blowing theories to ever grace the comments section. He theorizes that Clark's hometown of Smallville could have possibly been named after Ernest Smalley because, in the short story, Smalley is the one who literally creates the Superman, but in the comic book, Smallville is the place that figuratively creates Superman because it's a heavy influence in his formative years. Especially because Smallville is usually the place setting for Superboy comics as opposed to Metropolis for Superman comics, and that blows my mind, man. Good work. I don't even have an answer for this, I just love it a lot, but if you guys know if it was actually named after Ernest Smalley, then let me know in the comments. as incredible. And lastly, on a very recent episode about collecting comic books, Cesar Felix notes that his copy of Venom Lethal Protector looks a little bit different than mine. Specifically, mine has a barcode on it, and his does not. He said that his dad told him that comic books with barcodes are less valuable than those without because they're found at grocery stores and supermarkets and all sorts of places that aren't comic book shops. So I did some research on this and found that it's kind of just a little bit true. So before the late 70s to early 80s, when comic book shops started getting more popular, publishers sent direct market copies without barcodes on them to the comic shops and still sent regular comic books with barcodes to other places like newsstands and drugstores and just all over the place. Those comic shop copies either had a barcode crossed out or had a small picture where the barcode should be. And there's a couple reasons for this, but the main one being that it made it impossible for the comic shop owner to return the comic books that they didn't sell to the publisher. If it doesn't have a barcode, the publisher can't scan it back into inventory, so now the comic shop owners are just stuck with all the copies that they couldn't sell. If the comic shops overestimated on how many copies that they needed of a certain issue, then, well, too bad. You can't return it to the publisher to get your money back. As for which one is more valuable, it's kind of a toss-up. Most collectors will tell you that it really doesn't matter which copy that you have, as I see it as the same comic book. However, there have definitely been cases where the direct market copy is a little bit more valuable than the newsstand copy, because those are usually treated with a lot more care. Conversely, there also have been situations where the newsstand copies are more valuable than the direct market one, and that's because it's really hard to find a newspaper copy that's in good condition. But yeah, I found that whole thing, researching that, super fascinating. I hope you guys didn't get bored with that. Talking about barcodes, who knew that we would do that in a video, but how could I resist? So interesting. Links to this comment and all the others in the description below if you want to go check them out or have anything to add to the discussion as well, which I encourage you to do that. So thank you guys so much for leaving such great comments and just awesome things for me to go and research. And hey, if you think that you have a cool idea or topic or trivia or theory for an episode, then please don't hesitate to leave it in the comments below. I do a lot of the episodes based on what you guys suggest, so don't be shy down there. And hey, if I got something wrong in this video, then please let me know. Always happy to be wrong. And let me know if you like these comment response videos. I might do it some other time in the future. And if this is your first time hanging out with us here at NerdSync, we do weekly comic book videos just like this every Wednesday, and we don't want you to miss out on any of it, so please subscribe. Once again, I'm Scott. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll see you right here next week for more things that you thought you knew about comics. See ya. Jump to the 90s, where speculators were coming in and seeing how people were buying and selling old issues of comic books for many times their cover price, especially hearing stories of Golden and Silver Age comic books, originally a few cents at the time, now going for 6 figures. To them, that sounded like an amazing investment opportunity, so they went out and bought multiple copies of individual comic books in hopes to sell them one day and become rich.